I wouldn't be able to enjoy being intimate because my body had changed. My name is Isabella Davis. I am 27. I live in Sydney, New South Wales, and I work as a writer, content creator. When I was about 14, 13, I became very aware of my body and very aware of how your body's changing. And just, I started comparing myself to a lot of my friends, and it's crazy to think about because I was only 13. When I was 16, I was even more aware of my body and hyper aware that I thought I was flawed, or I thought I had imperfections and everything like this. And that's when I kind of thought, I'm going to try and change these things about myself. And that was really my downhill spiral. That was when I was really, really struggling with my body. And then I entered a bikini body challenge at 16. Well, not a challenge, sorry. It was a boot camp. So it was a 12-week boot camp, and I was only 16. Everyone else was my mum's age, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and I was the youngest person there. And it's almost like I thought I had to prove myself to them, prove that I was older, prove that I could lose the most amount of weight, and which was awful. It was unfortunately the start of my eating disorder and the start of my unhealthy relationship with exercise and my body, and I didn't even know, which is crazy.
Your support allows us to keep creating these amazing videos, so please like and subscribe if you enjoy our content.
I was up at 5 a.m. every day before school. After school, I would go for runs, and I never dieted before this, but because of this challenge, I was rethinking about everything, thinking about food in a completely different way. And then I developed distorted eating without even knowing I had it or knowing what it was. And then I was trying all these different diets, and I became honestly obsessed with exercise, obsessed with making myself smaller. Felt like it was the start of my downhill journey with my body, which went for 5 years. I was struggling with this eating disorder, struggling with exercise, didn't have a good relationship with my body, didn't have a good relationship with food, and it was awful, and I didn't know how to get out. And I didn't even know what it was at the time until many, many years later. So yeah, I definitely struggled from 16 to 21 with my body image and my eating disorder until I got help and kind of realized that this is not good, this is not healthy, this isn't what health is. And that's what I thought it was. And that was kind of the start of my journey, I would say. One of my friends was quite concerned because she had never experienced body image issues, and I thought everyone had. I was surely everyone's going through this, surely everyone's doing the exact same thing I was doing. But they weren't, not to the extremes that I was. I think my family just didn't really say anything. I lived with my dad at the time as well, so I don't think my dad really understood it too much, because he was quite older and I only lived with him, and he was raising a teenager, and he just didn't know what to say. He was always quite supportive, but never understood why I needed to do this, why I was doing it, what was going on. I was 20 when I thought I had a problem. I was I don't know what's going on with my body. I'd lost my period. My hair was falling out. I was always really cold and just having really dark thoughts that I'd never had before. So I was honestly just Googling what was happening with my body because I had no idea. I was too scared to talk to anyone about it. And that's when I found information about eating disorders. And I was oh my God, I think I have that. And then that really scared me. And then I sought help through a psychologist and a doctor to try and understand what the eating disorder was and my disordered eating. And then I felt I was okay, I have to recover now. I have to be in recovery. So I tried for ages with that and choose recovery every single day, obviously. But when COVID started, where was the first time I haven't dieted. And I was I'm just going to try this. I'm just going to read up about diet culture. And then it resonated so much with me. And I was for the first time in my life, I'm not going to diet. I'm not going to exercise. I'm going to give myself a bit of a break from like the intense exercise I was doing. Then I actually like found peace with my body, because for once in my entire life, it felt like I was actually listening to what my body wanted, and I was actually eating for joy. And that was the first time that I've ever ate for joy, was in 2021, which is crazy to think about. That really helped me change my mindset and shift that mindset, and help me be more accepting of my body, because for once I wasn't punishing it. For once I was actually being kind to it, giving it what it wanted, which was really nice. I remember when I first got my period back, how shocking it was, because I almost forgot what a period was and the pain it was to have a period. But yeah, I did notice like my hair started to grow back. I got my period back. My energy levels had, increased. And I was still having those thoughts though, like, you need to restrict again, you're putting on weight, like you need to do this, you need to do that. So the EG thoughts were still there, but I was getting better at blocking them out and getting better at like challenging my eating disorder in a way. And I was noticing a massive change, even though the thoughts still came and went. Like my outlook on life completely changed. I was so much happier, so much nicer to be around. Being this version of myself, like the thinnest version of myself, isn't making me happy, it's making me miserable. I don't need to do that anymore, and I can just treat my body kindly and be nice to it. Even though the thoughts are still there, I can try and push them down, and this feels better. Like this feels healthy to me. So it definitely was like my biggest challenge, because all my life, I've told myself I have to be this size, I have to look like this. But it was funny because at the time, even when I was my smallest, I still had cellulite and I still had stretch marks. So these weren't abnormal things for me. These were just things I was desperately trying to fix and get rid of. And then I saw my belly had gotten more round and softer, and I had rolls for the first time. I'd never had rolls before this. And then I was like, wow, my body has changed. And that really hit me deep. And I felt uncomfortable in that change. I didn't actually feel uncomfortable in my body. I was just uncomfortable with the fact that something had changed. It took me a good year to actually accept the change and actually sit with it, because a lot of other things were changing too. My arms were getting softer. I was going up a few dress sizes. So to realize I was actually at my heaviest I'd ever been was different, and it felt uncomfortable at the time. And it did take me a good year of every day, reminding myself that this is okay, because it's an everyday thing. Your body changing doesn't mean you've done anything wrong, doesn't mean you're flawed, doesn't mean you're a failure. And that would just be every day I would have to do that, because I feel like the more you do something, the more it sticks. I still tell people today that I still had bad body image days. I still had bad body image moments. I'm not the most confident every single day. I think no one is. How can you be, really? We're only human. But I just try and practice being body neutral a lot of the time. I don't have to love my body every second of every day, because I don't. But I'm just neutral towards my body. I acknowledge that it keeps me alive. It allows me to move. It allows me to dance. It allows me to be intimate. It allows me to do all of these things. And that's enough. So when I first started to notice my body changing and gaining weight, I felt so much shame over that. 5 years ago, when I first met my partner, it didn't look the same as the first body they were attracted to, or they were first intimate to. It's changed a lot in that time. I was worried that his attraction would change towards me because my body was softer, and I would get so in my head, I'd be like, oh, does my body feel softer? Do they notice my stretch mark? Have they noticed that my tummy feels rounder? And I would get so in my head that I wouldn't be able to enjoy being intimate because my body had changed. I've definitely always struggled, I would say, with intimacy, with allowing someone to see me fully, because, even back when I was thinner, I still had so many insecurities because I always thought I wasn't fit enough. So I still struggled with intimacy back then, struggled with feeling confident in the bedroom, voicing what I like, what I don't like. But I would say it almost became like a new insecurity around weight gain. But if they started dating me when I looked like this and now I look like this, are they still going to want to be intimate? Those insecurities really heightened over the last 2 years because my body's changed even more over the last 2 years. So I had many tears and many times of being like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And honestly, I had to work on it myself because my partner would always be like, of course I'm attracted to you. Of course I think you're beautiful. Like nothing's changed. But I didn't believe it because I didn't believe I was worthy of intimacy. So how was I going to believe him if I didn't believe it? And continually remind myself that gaining weight doesn't make you unlovable. It doesn't make you unattractive. It doesn't make you unworthy of intimacy. This is just a normal body, how it moves, how it looks, and that's okay. I think there definitely was a bit of a light bulb moment actually, because I remember one night in particular, I was so sad that I had once again rejected intimacy, and I was just sitting in the bathroom by myself, door locked, shower on, and I was just like, I wanted to be intimate so badly. I wanted to be touched. I wanted to be felt, held, all of the things. And I just stopped myself from that. I stopped myself from being intimate and having that affection. And I wanted it. I wanted it so badly. I wanted to be held. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to feel beautiful. And I stopped myself from allowing myself to do that. I was like, I can't do this anymore. My partner's love for me hasn't changed. But the way I allow him to love me now has changed. Now I'm more open to it. Now I'm more accepting of it. Yeah, I think it's just so important to remind yourself that every body, every single body, regardless of your size, shape, weight, is worthy of intimacy and worthy of being touched and held and loved. So you can't stop yourselves from being intimate, from receiving that, because you are worthy of it. You are worthy of it. You are absolutely deserving of it. The right person don't care about the way you look. They're willing to, they want to be intimate with you for you and for your body. That's what they want. They want that. So they like you. They like the way you look. So stop letting your body insecurity stop you from enjoying intimacy. It started in the first lockdown. This was when I stopped dieting. I stopped over-exercising. And then one day, because I started this account, I guess you could say, on my own personal account. So it's the same account I've had from when I first started Instagram. And then one day I just took a photo of my cellulite that wasn't edited, wasn't filtered, because I was so used to uploading edited images online. And I kind of just talked about cellulite, and I was like, I have cellulite, you may as well. You might not have seen me with cellulite before, but this is what my legs look without filters, without editing, without smoothing apps. And that's that. So that's kind of how it started. It kind of became my own little diary, and I still see it as that now, where I share about my struggles, I share about body insecurities, and I just talk openly and really honestly, I think about my journey. So that's kind of how it started. I was just I'm just going to upload a random image of my legs for people to see. I was scared, I think, so scared, because I hadn't seen many images like that one online before. So I was a little bit nervous to be very raw and open with everyone. At the time, it was just my friends and family. And I had edited my photos so much before. So I was this was kind of I felt like a bit of a liar, a little bit of a fake, being hey, I don't actually look like that. This is me. I've been catfishing you all. So I was kind of that, kind of exposing myself in a way. And it felt quite raw and vulnerable. And even with posts that I share now, I feel I share a lot of very intimate photos. They don't feel intimate to me though, because they just feel normal features of my body that I see every single day. So for me now, it doesn't feel scary uploading these images. Just feels like another part of my body that I'm just showing, and it's a part I see every single day. I think The first time I ever uploaded a pubic hair photo was when I was like very nervous about posting that, because I was struggling at that time to accept my own body hair as well, which has been a whole different journey. So through this like journey to accept my body, I've also now learned to accept my body hair, and that's only been maybe over the last year and a half. I've actually been comfortable with my body hair, comfortable being intimate with body hair, comfortable wearing a bikini with body hair. So like uploading that first photo, I was a bit anxious. I never saw it, so I was like, I kind of want to share this, and I kind of want to talk about my journey to accepting this and my journey to learn to embrace my body hair, because it wasn't easy, I wouldn't say. It brings me so much joy because I'm hopefully helping people. It's really nice for people to be, it feels like joining me on that journey, the saying screw you, so it's lovely. I think my main thing I always come back to is like, you don't have flaws and imperfections. We've been fed that for so many years, that we're flawed or imperfect in some way. But I just like love to remind people that like their hip dips, their stretch marks, their rolls, their skin folds, their body hair, their softness is not a flaw. That's just like beauty standards trying to profit off our insecurities. Like, we're not flawed. We just have normal features of a body. And it's just a body simply being a body existing. And if you look around you, you'll see so many other people, everyone I would say, having these exact same features on their body. So how can that be a flaw? My biggest thing is like, you don't owe anyone thinness. Like, you don't owe anyone a thinner, a smaller, a smoother body. You just owe yourself like a life where you can accept your body as it is and not let your body insecurity stop you from living your best life. I always like to remind myself that like, you only have one life in this body, and that life is not supposed to be spent like belittling, criticizing, judging your body. Like, you have one life, so, and your sole purpose in that life isn't to lose weight. I would tell myself in 2016 to stop comparing myself to others. So stop comparing my body to others, because my body is my body, and of course it's going to look different, and that someone else's beauty does not take away from my own beauty. I just like to remind myself that someone else's beauty doesn't take away from your own beauty, and I wish I knew that back then.